Hey everyone, welcome to the ATYL live stream on a Wednesday night. Good to see you all rolling in after the big weekend of racing we just had all across the board. Of course, my name's Taylor Kitchen and Dom Joseph joins me once again for the live show. Dom, I see you're wearing the Reese's hat in style. Love it.
Yeah, I do my best to rotate what I wear. I got called
Yeah.
out by buddy at the truck race, thinking I only owned one hat, so I'm doing my best to rotate them now. Do my best to show everything I've got.
I was gonna say you have quite the hat collection. I know we've talked about it like briefly here before, but as we go along, just a
Just a
couple, no
couple.
big deal. But, we have to rotate the gear out, even, like, behind us. I know we're gonna talk about some of our finds from the tents this weekend a little later, because there was a few things that were found. I went into this weekend saying I'm not gonna buy anything. That
And I
was
laughed at you.
the biggest lie. The biggest lie, because I definitely bought some die casts. Some ones I wasn't looking for, some that have been on my list, but of course, we will get to that. I'm Ravaging Wolverine. Good to see you in the chat. So racing on Memorial Day weekend was a lot better this year than last. I would agree. I think there were some highs. There was obviously some lows. We're going to talk about Indy as well because there's a lot of talking points with the Indy race from this past weekend. I think even leading up to it, we talked about it on the live stream too last week on Tuesday about the whole Penske stuff and whatever. But there's more to that. Obviously, the Coke 600 weekend. We're going to talk about that. Talk about Monaco, not a whole lot to talk about there necessarily, but we're still going to talk about it all a little later. And obviously talk about what's ahead in NASCAR specifically with Nashville. Night racing all across the board. You got to love it, right?
I mean, they installed those lights at those speedways for a reason. I mean, there's no point in getting all that money put into the racetrack just to schedule a 3 p.m. start. So I'm glad we're utilizing it, and it just makes for better entertainment. It makes it look a lot cooler.
And also just knowing how hot it gets this time of year. The weather here in North Carolina has been seasonably cold, like unreasonably seasonably cold words. So I don't know if that's going to impact Nashville this weekend. Don't know. But night racing is always so fun. So I'm excited for that across the board for all three series. But let's pump the brakes on all of that. Tonight, we have a very special guest from Goat Locker Racing, Patrick Drabick, joining us. They pulled the double for that group for themselves. They had some of their members of Goat Locker Racing show up to the Indy 500 and to the Coca-Cola 600, and they had the coolest experience. I actually got to meet some of them at Charlotte, which was super cool. So we want to bring in Patrick, talk about that, and also give us an update on what's going on in Goat Locker Racing. I know some of you watch their streams as well. So as they go into their summer series and just learning what all they have going on. So let's bring in Patrick. Good to see you.
Hey.
What's up?
How's everybody doing?
Doing great. We're trying to recover from the race weekend.
I can understand that. There was a lot of things that happened, not only this weekend, but over the past week between the All-Star race and then going into Memorial Day weekend and the F1 race. And yeah, there's been a lot of activity.
Oh my gosh. So what's been going on with Go Locker Racing since the last time we talked? We talked earlier in the year, so been a few months, right?
It has been, and we just continue to grow at an insane pace, if you would ask me.
Mm-hmm.
All the different partnerships that we have been blessed to have, all the things we've been able to do for veterans all across the country. And, right before Memorial Day weekend, we delivered another sim rig to a veteran, which was absolutely phenomenal. That was the 9th one we've done. So we're just at a little over $25,000 worth of equipment that we've donated to veterans. So they can enjoy the sport of iRacing. If you want to call it a sport, it depends on what side of the fence you're on, whether it's a game or a simulator. I don't want to start that argument here today because there's people that get really upset if you call it a game. But we've been just doing some amazing things and meeting some amazing people. And I got to spend some time at the track for the 500. Got to tour the garage with a few people. And so it's just been amazing. And we just continue to grow and get bigger.
Before I ask about this weekend, we had a clip on our socials, and I had to ask you about this. One of your drivers won a championship with a controller, not like an actual rig. How do you feel about that?
I guess I'm okay with it. I mean, whatever works for you. Now, the guys that was competing against him, I don't think they were okay with it, because it runs the gambit in this thing like any other hobby you can get into. You can get into it pretty inexpensively if you've got a decent computer and you can run down to wherever, get you a Logitech wheel and get after it, or you can just apparently grab the controller from your Xbox and get after it too, because that guy absolutely dominated the late model stock series. And yeah, so that was, and then he kind of showed it off during our championship shows too. And we're like, that's a weird flex, man. And I don't know that you probably should be doing that one, but hey, good on you.
Definitely a weird flex, but like you said, it's whatever works. I mean, he won the championship, so clearly,
Yeah. I'm glad I didn't compete in that series, because I'm sitting in some really expensive equipment, and if I got beat by an Xbox controller, I might have been a little upset, and this thing might have been on Facebook Marketplace.
I mean, talk about your equipment too. I mean, I know you're a really big William Byron fan, but just for those at home trying to figure out what's around you, like what all do you have in your setup?
Well, yeah, I got addicted to sheet metal. So the different race car parts that you can, and they're everywhere.
As we do.
And and then I'm just a racing fan at heart. And I'm a big Hendrick Motorsports fan, became a very big William Byron fan. He's running the number of Jeff Gordon, who I watched growing up, and all that other stuff. So it was like a natural thing for me to kind of follow him once he got into that number. But above me is the roof from his Liberty University 2020 car. Super cool. It's before he ever won a race at the Cup Series, because it doesn't have a win sticker on it. So I thought that's cool. And then the bumper behind me is from his 2022 Michigan car. Liberty University is all. I love the Liberty University stuff. I think it's so cool. It's an amazing institution and the things that they do. And then I have every one of his Liberty University helmets signed, not his actual helmets, because that would be way expensive, but the replica ones, and they're all signed by him as well. So, but yeah, I mean, I've got all my racing equipment around me as well too. And I have so much money wrapped up in this thing. I could actually probably put a car on the track and just go race. It's really ridiculous.
I mean, it is a really cool setup, not going to lie. From what I've seen, it is so cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And, as we talk more about Goat Locker racing, this is, what we kind of quote as speed therapy. Mm-hmm. And so this gives, everybody, quite honestly, but for some of our veterans and our first responders, it gives them the opportunity to get out on track, be surrounded by a bunch of people that know what they went through, be able to compete and kind of feel all those emotions and everything like that. So yeah, it's a little bit what we call speed therapy, and it's a whole lot of fun, but it is a rabbit hole you could really dive down deep into.
The one thing I want to ask is how long you guys have been doing that simulator giveaway with veterans. I feel like obviously these are not cheap investments. So for a veteran to receive a gift like this, it must do wonders for them.
It really does. And so last year we did our first one back in March. So I guess we've been doing a little over a year at this point in time. And what we give to them is about a $2,500 setup. It's a brand new PC. It's built by Alexander PCs up in Chicago. They are a veteran-owned business, phenomenal business. If you need a PC, go see Alex. Can I shamelessly plug people?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. Go to Alexander PCs if you need a PC. They're amazing. They're veteran-owned. So they build all the PCs for us. And then we're partnered with Next Level Racing for the cockpits. We're partnered with Sim Motion for the wheel and the pedals. We use the Moza system, the R5 system for them. They get a 32-inch curved monitor, mouse, keyboard, headset, everything they need. And then we have a phenomenal partnership with iRacing themselves. And so iRacing gives them a free year subscription to the service and loads their account with a couple $100 so they can buy cars and tracks and everything they need to come racing. So what we tell these veterans is all you need to do is pay your light bill and your internet bill. We got you covered. Everything else is covered. And like I said before, we've done 9 full simulators so far, which is just incredible to me. And yeah, I'm not going to say anything like it's life-changing, but it kind of, for some of them, it has been. It's given them an outlet to work through some of their mental health issues. It's given them a community that they can rely upon and go to when they're having some of those struggles. So it's just and at the end of the day, it's just freaking fun. To get out there and beat and bang and have a whole lot of fun. It's just a good time.
And especially if you're a race fan too. I was saying this to Taylor and them. I was running Xfinity cars at Charlotte, just a 90-lap race, just a fixed run. And I didn't even win, wasn't competing to win, but I got out of the sim saying that was so much fun because it was so challenging. And I loved that it was like, you have to work for it. And it's
Yeah.
like, but again, like all the outside noise goes away, all the
Mm-hmm.
distractions go away, and you're just zoned in on something you love to do.
Yeah. And that's the key to it right there. You know, a lot of mental health professionals will tell you, you know, in order to help someone that is struggling with their mental health, give them a positive hobby, give them something to do instead of being lost in their thoughts or those types of things, or turning to not so great things. Give them something positive to do. And that's exactly what we do. We have this wonderful community. It's reaching almost 500 members at this point in time in our racing community. And so a lot of the guys, when they come in, they feel like they're back in the military again, because they're surrounded by other veterans and first responders. And so, yeah, like I could go on and on forever. I think it's the coolest thing in the world. A lot of people think it's the coolest thing in the world. And we've just grown, man. We have grown as a nonprofit. We've got some awesome connections in the racing world at this point in time. You're going to see some really, really cool things between Goat Locker Racing, Errol McLaren, and Tony Kanaan here in the very near future, which I'm stupid excited about. You know, so yeah, we're just doing some awesome things, and yeah.
Can we talk about you meeting Tony Kanaan? Can we talk about it? Just like, how cool was it? Were you like freaking out?
I have to, yes. The short answer is yes, because at the end of the day, I'm a fan. And when I go into any one of these meetings, you know, I end up telling a select group of people, and they're like, dude, don't fanboy out. Don't fanboy out. I fanboy out every time because I'm a racing fan. But yes, I had the opportunity, I guess at this point in time, 2 months ago, to go to Errol McLaren's race shop and meet with Tony Kanaan. He wanted to learn more about Goat Locker Racing. He wanted to learn about our organization. So I got to sit in his office, had his undivided attention for an hour, and had an amazing conversation with him. And I think one of the coolest things about the conversation, there were many cool things, was you walk into one of those and you just want to be very professional, and you want to be very respectful, and you want all these types of things. So we sit down and we start talking. And I think within the first 2 minutes, he'd already dropped an F-bomb or something like this. And I'm like, okay, we're good to go now. We're just real people talking about some really cool things. And so a lot has come from that and that meeting. Like I said, you're going to see some really cool things between Goat Locker Racing and him personally, TK. And like just an amazing individual. Of course, his story is amazing, coming from Brazil and growing up racing and all those types of things. The things he does for sim racers, I think a lot of people are not aware of. He has his own esports team. He outfits them all with equipment. Each and every year, they all get new equipment so they can continue to hone their craft. He does some amazing things just as an individual. So, but yeah, when I walk into Errol McLaren's race shop and I'm meeting with him, I'm a kid in the candy shop. It's like the Charlie Brown thing. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, things are being said. Like when I went back in the actual race shop with their chief of staff showed me around, and she was saying things. I couldn't tell you what she said because there were race cars around, and Larson's 500 car was over there, and I'm, it was amazing stuff.
And just to go off of that too, talking about, you know, you had a group go to the 500 and you had a group go to the 600. Do you mind talking a little bit about how that all came together and just the experience as a whole? Because you talk about speed therapy in the sim rig, but there's also an aspect of it that goes to the track as well.
Yeah, so we've worked with a lot of different organizations, like race teams and things like that, to get tickets donated to us, because there is a lot to be said about gathering online and doing everything, you know, in the Discord chats and all that. But there's something very different about meeting in person and having that sense of camaraderie. And so we set out, myself and Jamie set out with this mission, not only to do this and provide the equipment, but also to bring veterans to races and have them meet up and things like that. So we had 4 tickets and parking passes donated to the Indianapolis 500, which, you know, you're like, okay, that's cool. These tickets were amazing tickets. Like they were about 100 yards short of the start-finish line.
Oh, wow.
In the nice covered seats. Amazing tickets donated to us with parking passes. So those veterans and their families, all they had to do was show up. That was awesome. We had 4 weekend passes and parking passes donated to us for the NASCAR All-Star race. So we sent a veteran and his entire family to that race Again, all they have to do is show up and enjoy. And he had an amazing time and got to bring his entire family, which I think is awesome. And then, yes, through a partnership of ours, we had 8 VIP passes donated to the Coca-Cola 600. So everybody got, the tour of the garage. They got to go back in the pits. They got to do all those things. They got a tour of how a broadcast is put together for a race as well. So they got to tour all the trailers and meet some of the on-air personalities. I know Jamie met Trevor Bain when they were there and got his ticket signed and all that stuff. And because he was at the race that Trevor, won. So it's an awesome experience. And so for the guys in Charlotte, what we did for them is we rented a house. So again, all they have to do is show up. We take care of everything else for them. And I know they had an amazing time. I got a lot of late night phone calls Saturday night because they're all sitting around the fire. I'm sure they were drinking Kool-Aid, roasting hot dogs, whatever they were doing, just having a good time. And then they got to go spend the day at the track, just meeting people and getting a behind the scenes look at how a production's put together. And so we want to do more of those things. And so this year we've done 3. We did the All-Star race. We did the Indy 500. We did the Coke 600. I think you're going to see us at a few more IndyCar races this year. So We're working on some of those things. I believe we're going to be at the Slinger Nationals, which I'm excited about that. I've just got my fingers crossed that Willie B is going to go ahead and do that this year. He's done it in years past, so I'm hoping he's going to show up to Slinger. So we got a lot of really cool things in the works with that as well. So as we've continued to grow as an organization, as a nonprofit, we've continued to grow in the motorsports world as well. Not only, there goes my dog. Not only we're doing, I have 3 of them, so one's going to bound to show up. Not only are we doing things in the stock car world, we're doing things in IndyCar. We're getting ready to do some stuff with IMSA as well. So we just continue to kind of grow and expand. And this is just the beginning. We're going to do some more races this year, some more get-togethers. So it was exciting, very exciting.
Well, it's one thing for you guys to have these kinds of opportunities. It's another thing for them to fall on Memorial Day weekend. How important was it for you guys not only to be there for those events, but to get that much deserved representation at those races?
Yeah, we chose the Coca-Cola 600 for a very poignant reason. Because it was Memorial Day weekend and all the things that happen over Memorial Day weekend, so the 8 VIP passes that were donated, we got to choose whatever race we wanted to use them for. And we said, let's go to Charlotte. Let's send a group to Charlotte over Memorial Day weekend. And I could tell you, getting some feedback from those guys, it was just an amazing experience, not just being at the race, but being there for that race. Last year we went to Bristol, we went to the night race, the playoff race, and that was an experience and a lot of fun, but Charlotte was sold out, and you don't see that a lot now in NASCAR, at the races themselves. That's how important, the Coke 600 is over Memorial Day weekend. So to be at that sold out race with everything that was going on and that group of veterans was there was just an unbelievable experience for them.
And for those who watch the streams that you guys do, watch Goat Talk, watch the races, how can other people come to support you guys, support your mission and what you do?
Well, the easiest way is to head over to goatlockerracing.org. Come check us out. Just come see what we're all about. And if you want to come drive with us, it's easy to find it on the website. You just hit the little driver application. It's a couple questions. It gives you the link to our Discord. Come join our Discord family. We've got a lot of guys and gals in there that don't race very often, but they're just a part of the family and they're there to support. So yeah, please, by all means, stop by the website. You can find us on every social media you can think of. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Twitch, and I don't even know the names of half of them. Instagram, there's one. I don't know. All those different types of things. And then, yeah, you can also catch us tomorrow night here on Above the Yellow Line with our podcast, Goat Talk Live. Which has been awesome as well to be able to reach the different audiences. We've been able to have some of our guests on, and for our podcast, we typically talk about what we're doing as a nonprofit. So if you want to learn more about that, we always have links and scans and all that other kind of fun stuff. We talk about what's happening in our racing world as well. And then we usually have some pretty cool guests on, like Taylor Kitchen.
Oh,
You know,
gosh.
yeah, we've had her on. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Figure invite her to a podcast that's on her network. I felt that was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But
No,
anybody wants to get involved, please follow us on social media. If you have it in your heart and you want to donate, great. But we have a lot of great supporters, a lot of great corporate sponsors. We were selected for another grant from the Department of Veterans Affairs again this year. So we're going to continue to do amazing things.
I've loved seeing how you guys have grown this year, and then seeing you guys at the track more. Like it's been so awesome to think, because what we met last year, this was last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh my God, 2 years ago. To see where you guys have gone is incredible.
It blows my mind. And you were talking about meeting Tony Kanaan and those types of things. When I'm in those meetings, I literally have to pinch myself because I'm like, how did I get here? How is Goat Locker Racing here? From 2 retired Navy guys that said, hey, and we were race fans, to forming a nonprofit, to see where it's grown, to give out over $25,000 worth of equipment, to have veterans go to races that we pay for, so they can, experience some. It's just, when I say it out loud, it just blows my mind, because I'm just deep in the weeds every day, just grinding away. But it's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride, and I can't wait to see what's next. I really can't.
Well, we're so excited for you guys. Seriously. We appreciate you being here, Patrick. Everyone
Thank
in
you.
the chat, everyone watching, make sure to go support Go Locker Racing and watch Goat Talk every Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the ATYL Media channel. Patrick, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
That was Patrick Drabick. Love them at Goat Locker. It was so cool meeting them this weekend because, we've known each other like online for the longest time. I still need to meet Patrick in person. That's something on the list too. But I got to meet Jamie, and it was like meeting old friends. It was the coolest thing. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And their mission too. You can't go wrong. The mission is so cool, and what they're doing with speed therapy, with sim racing and stuff, it's just phenomenal. So make sure to go support them. A link to their website and things like that are in the description of our video on YouTube. But cannot thank them enough for what they do and for what they do for our country. But cool. Let's move on. Well, first off, here's the thing. So here's the thing, Dom. Diecast. They're so important to us and to, as you can see around us. And when you don't have something to display them on, it's a tragedy. It is an absolute tragedy. That's why you need Benzik Designs 3D printed diecast display stands. Here's the thing. I've gotten 3D printed stands before, and none of them compare to these. These ones are sturdy. There's 4-tiered, 3-tiered. There's so many different stands for 124s, 164s. IndyCar diecast, you got it. Formula One diecast, you got it. NASCAR diecast, obviously my bread and butter. You got that as well. But guys, make sure to go to Benzik Designs, linked in the description of the video, or scan the QR code on the screen and use the promo code ATYL2025 for 20% off your entire order. It literally is the perfect thing to have for all the diecast lovers in your life. And if you have a friend that loves diecast and they have a birthday coming up, this is the perfect gift, courtesy of us. But make sure to check out Benzik Designs. They're so cool. Shout out to Matt. He's awesome. But yeah, we're so lucky here to have the partners we have. Goat Locker Racing is, they're great friends of ours, and they have their show on our platform, and they're a fantastic organization. And Matt Benzik from Benzik Designs is awesome. Like, we're just so lucky here. But yeah, show your diecast some loves. Get them a stand. We'd love to see it. But okay, sorry. Horrible segue over.
We'll be sad.
We will be sad. You don't want us to be sad.
That alone should sell you.
It should. Me sad? You don't want it. It's terrible. It will make you cry if I'm sad. So don't do it. Regardless, we have some stuff to talk about. But let's bring in Adam to talk all about this race weekend. Adam, good to see you.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Has everybody recovered?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Because as we know, it was definitely a bad weekend to be.
Yeah.
It was a bad weekend to be.
Let's discuss.
Let's discuss. Well, let's start off with Monaco, because this will be very brief. How do we feel about it? Last weekend for Monaco on Memorial Day weekend, it was a dead giveaway from the start who was going to win this based off of qualifying. But just any general thoughts on the experience of watching that?
Breakfast was tasty. Breakfast was tasty.
Breakfast was good. We had breakfast all together, and it was lovely. And that was kind of it.
There was a motor race of Formula One that went around a circuit, and they finished the laps pretty tame.
Yep.
And we're moving on. So about standard for Monaco.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this would have been Ferrari's best chance to win a race this year, and they blew it. So what else is new?
Yeah, nothing else new. We'll move on, though. I just wanted to make sure we mentioned it briefly because it is part of the Christmas day that is for motorsports for Sunday. So had to mention Formula One there. Shout out to John. By the way, if you want your Formula One fix, check out Track Limits from John DeRudris every Tuesday on the ATYL Media channel. But we'll move on to the 500 because there was just a lot. There was a lot around the 500 this year. And it goes down to drama pre-race, drama during the race, before the green flag dropped. And then, of course, after the race, we had penalties. Ericsson and Kirkwood's team each fined $100,000, disqualified from the race, essentially after post-race inspection. So there was just a lot here. But for Scotty Mack, guys, I hated it. Gutted for him. I mean, he was trying to warm up those tires and just spun out before the green flag dropped. And you saw the famous, just him, his head and his hands. Gutted. Man, Adam, that was depressing, huh?
That was one of the most somber moments that was not related to any type of military service on Sunday. That really, it hits you because if you're a true racing fan like we all are,
yes,
you realize the time and preparation, the countless hours and minutes just that goes into running those 200 laps, and you don't even make it through the pace lap.
Yeah.
It's gut-wrenching. It makes you want to throw up. It makes you just hate life, just hate it completely. I really hope Scotty Mack can rebound this weekend just to get that sour taste out of his mouth.
Yeah.
I feel like we should just call this the anti-Indy 500 this year because it went against everything that normally happens in Indy.
Yeah.
To have the big dogs get the mother of all penalties before the 500.
Yes.
One of those cars wrecks before the race starts. We have rain in and out. We have the super story of Kyle Larson. He crashes out. And then at the very end, the guy that wins every week wins the race. So it's like we didn't get the Cinderella winner like everyone was begging for. It was everything we didn't think was going to happen happened this whole month of May.
And you said this, Dom, when we had a conversation about it. It's like this is the worst case scenario for IndyCar. And we say this in the fact not to discredit Alex Palou at all, because my God, he earned that win. He deserved that win. He is one of the best racers in the world right now. His talent is undeniable, right? But when you have a new broadcast partner and a new set of eyes that you're trying to reach with IndyCar, and you're trying to build intrigue about the series, and one driver is dominating over and over, and your biggest event of the year is just a little bit tarnished by rain, controversy, big wrecks, etc., it puts a damper on the event a little bit. It was a really weird one this year. I had family that was watching it for the first time. They were trying to ask questions along the way, which was so exciting for me. But I was like, this is not the Indy that we know. It was a really weird one.
Yeah. And again, I hate to dog on Alex Palou because all he's doing is dominating, which is what he should be doing, what every driver wishes they could be doing. Everyone wants to be Palou. He's just fortunate enough to be a great driver in a great car. And the two are married together perfectly. So bad luck for the rest of the field. But yeah, when you're a brand new media company trying to sell this asset to people, there's no point to tune in if you already know who's going to win. So that's been an issue with Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
And now IndyCar's having that same problem with Palou.
And I mean, even you talk about the finish of this race, Logan, good to see you in the chat. It was kind of a letdown because two lap cars stayed in front of the leaders. So you had that. And then you have Ericsson about won the race. And then, of course, with a few laps left, Palou made the pass. But luckily, Ericsson didn't win because they would have been disqualified. And that would have been even worse. So it's crazy. And then you have the stat here from Logan as well that Palou has a bigger lead on second place than second place does to 20th. And there was a whole joke about this. I believe it was Scott Dixon, not Scott Dixon. Yeah, was it Scott Dixon that made this?
It was Scott Dixon. Yeah.
Yeah. Where he basically was like, during the whole like ceremony celebration for the 500, was like, hey, I got you, your wife, and your kids a vacation for like 5 weeks, starts right now, to Pillow. And then what was it? Alan Bestwick said he would still probably have the championship, something like that afterwards.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
This makes me think of 2023 F1. Verstappen at the end of the year had enough points to win both the driver and constructors championship by himself. So Red Bull didn't even need the second car to win the constructors. Max alone would have won it. So that just shows you the kind of domination we're getting out of Pillow.
And I think to talk about this here too, domination by one driver is not a bad thing. I think sometimes we talk about it like it's a bad thing. It's maybe not the most entertaining thing, but it's a show of skill from a driver, and we are truly watching a generational talent. And I know we can dog on Max Verstappen in Formula One and how it can be boring because one driver just goes away with it most of the time. Not totally the case this year, obviously. But I think there's something to be said that we need to separate domination being a bad thing from just not being entertaining. I think that's a conversation.
What always happens with it is it doesn't get celebrated until the person's career is over.
Right.
It never gets celebrated in the moment because people want that entertainment right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we'll celebrate that later. I want to see a good race today.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue.
And part of it too is the coverage that you have for these races. Are we just focused on the leader leading every single lap in a race? Or are we going to focus on the interesting battles in the mid pack? And that's where I think, and we'll talk about the 600 now a little bit. Unless Adam, if you have something else to add about Indy.
I mean, yeah, it was an oddball Indy 500 for sure. But Pillow,
yeah,
I think during our season preview show said, watch out for Pillow this year. I think he's really going to go for it. And I was the only one, I think, agreeing that was going to happen. Sure enough, he's just knocking him out of the way. Seeing this kind of dominance in IndyCar, though, is somewhat unusual.
Yes.
So if you're a seasoned fan, this is definitely an anomaly. If you're a new fan, yeah, this almost feels like, oh, it's Formula One light.
Yes.
But growing up watching Jimmy Johnson dominate in NASCAR, I mean, I booed him every week because I was a Gordon fan, obviously. But when his career was over, it's like, wow, this guy was the GOAT. I love seeing when he makes his one-offs here and there. Like on Sunday, I was definitely fanboying a little bit over the 84 car, even though he got into my Red Bull guy, or my Red Bull guy got into him, however you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the best there for Jimmy in his 700th start. But I guess going off of the Alex Pillow statement too, something I was going to mention that I should mention, I guess now that we're on the topic too, is Alex Pillow did hint that he would like to potentially race at a street course or road course in NASCAR. This was on Kevin Harvick's podcast. He also said in an Indy Star interview that Formula One is not calling me anymore. I still follow it. It's a huge series. It's amazing. I'm a big fan. But I don't think they're having as much fun as I'm having here. He said, I don't see people celebrating with their wives and their kids as much as we do. I don't see them having hanging in the bus a lot or having dinner with their mechanics. Basically, he just enjoys what he has right now in IndyCar, and I don't blame him for that. I think IndyCar is much more approachable. It's more grounded. And something to mention there too, that we could potentially maybe see Pillow in a future NASCAR race, which I think if teams heard him say that, I think they're smart to try to put it together. Trackhouse. I was going to say, get that Project 91 car.
Calling you, my son. Imagine if we got a DHL stock car.
I mean,
we already know who's going to drive that.
It'd be awesome.
My goodness. But let's shift to talk about the 600 real quick. Talking about the broadcast and kind of going off of what I had said earlier, where sometimes the broadcast can tell the story of the race. And I do think for the 600, I think the broadcast definitely helped what we saw or what we thought of the race because the broadcast was just that damn good. But that battle between Byron and Chastain at the end, and Chastain taking the lead and getting the win. First off, just Adam, since you have the Busch hat on, huge win for Ross. Considering he's been the most consistent driver at Trackhouse, the driver with the best results, and quite honestly, one of the most consistent drivers this season. If you look at his stats compared to Larson, obviously the wins aren't there, but average finishing position at least is about like just one position off from Larson. That's a pretty big deal. So I guess for Ross Chastain, how big of a deal is this for him? And then just watching the race on TV, what was your perception of how Prime did?
For Ross, he punched his ticket. Now they have feet in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So now they can actually show the world what they can do, and heck, maybe even pull off a Joey Logano, a Cinderella type season. Even though the stats would say different, he's being consistent this year.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes one to get in, and they got that one to get in. For the broadcast, felt like it was nostalgia all night. I felt like I was back in the mid 2000s watching Fox or watching NBC, the way it was presented, the pre-race, the actual race broadcast, the post-race show was fantastic.
Oh,
we checked off all the boxes. It was presented professionally. It was not dumbed down. There were compelling stories throughout the entire field. I mean, look at most of the race. It was dominated by Byron until the latter half. Yet I was still on the edge of my seat and glued to the television set because of all the other stuff that was going on during the race. So them being able to highlight not just the leaders, that, yeah, there's more than just the leader leading. That's what really, really kept me hooked. And then just, having Dale Jr. back in the booth, it's fantastic.
The cast of characters that they put together, from pit road to the pre-race and post-race show to the actual booth itself, I think was phenomenal. And when you talk about the racing that you saw on TV and the storylines, I guess, Dom, and we can talk about a little bit what we saw at the track. Did you feel the on-track product was as compelling as we had seen in the past, or as compelling as I think maybe the Prime broadcast hyped it up to be?
I think it was better than last year. For
Mhm.
sure. I really don't remember much of last year's 600, and
Rain.
yeah, I know we all know how it ended, but
Unfortunately.
I really don't remember much of that race. And I felt like 23 was pretty impressive, pretty competitive, and then obviously 22 was just
Oh my
the
gosh.
mother of all 600s. But yeah, this year's was really good because I loved the fact that we had that one moment of, oh my gosh, the leader can't do everything perfectly easy in clean air. When Larson spun out, I was like, okay, these things are hard to drive. Love it.
Yeah.
And then we had the Byron dominance for that whole first half. But then I loved that Denny made him vulnerable, like
Yeah.
proved, okay, we can make passes for the lead. And it was fun to watch Byron chase Denny's lines when Denny was trying to make those passes and just use the air against him. It was fun to see them playing that chess each and every corner to see, okay, I'm going to try the bottom. Byron knew it. Byron went right down to the bottom with him, took all the air away, and Denny had to reset and try to figure it out again the next corner. And then the battle at the end was just so epic. Just seeing Byron knowing I've got the best car here. I just need to protect the lead. And Ross Chastain saying, I need this more than you do because you've already got to win. And I will let nothing stand in my way.
he basically told Byron, hold my beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool about Ross, I think now, is we're seeing him be more calculated with his moves. We're seeing him be, I think in the past, I think the word I used for him was just over aggressive and just miscalculated with how he made maneuvers on the track. I think now he is aggressively calculated, and that sounds negative, but what I mean by that is he's takes the right chances at the right time. He knows what his car can and can't do. I mean, somebody said it in here, and I'm trying to find. Logan said Ross is simply the MVP this year. The problem they have is qualifying, and qualifying is their Achilles heel across the board for Trackhouse too. But it's just, you see him maturing as a driver, and also, I mean, also kind of a fan favorite here too. So when you have the two kind of combining of fan favorite, maturing as a driver, figuring out what to do with his car and when, I mean, I can't say enough good things about Ross. Like that was a masterclass drive. And then, like you said, Dom, like when Byron had to just aero block essentially Denny, trying to figure out, where's Denny going to be? How can I keep the lead? Denny being like, okay, well, I'm trying to get around you, so let me kind of change my line. Like it was a game of cat and mouse, I felt like, at Charlotte, quite honestly. But it wasn't one that was incredibly boring. Now, what I will say, and what we did talk about a little bit I think when the race was happening was you can tell these bigger teams are getting an edge on the rest of the field. And when I say that, it's like the Penske's, the Gibbs, the Hendricks, they're starting to pull away with some more and more wins. The parity isn't there as much as it was with the start of the Gen 7 car, which we all know, like, it was going to happen eventually. What's cool, though, after this weekend, what it solidified is teams can still find a way. There is still a way to get wins, and that's what Trackhouse did. So, love to see it.
Definitely. And I think, too, I mean, how many times were we sitting there saying, okay, maybe Denny's going to make the move here.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of drafting help. And then Carson Hocevar, who was giving him that air push, goes 3 wide because why not? I'm Carson Hocevar. I want to lead this race, too.
Gutted for him.
But I think the beauty of Charlotte is every lane had grip. And that's the end of it. That's all you need. You need every lane to work for you. And that's all it took for this to be a race.
Yep.
You know, I think of so many races where air blocking has kind of ruined it.
Yeah.
That's because that is the only lane. But no, I loved to, and I got to say, like, I know he didn't win, but every restart when Byron would get the bottom in turn 3, I mean, it's like he had another 50 horsepower.
Yes.
He hooked the line so fast, and just right when you were side by side with him going into 3, you're like, oh, here's my chance, and he just
gone
off on the bottom.
He was gone.
And I know this is going to bring back a lot of awful memories for Adam, but how many times have we seen a 24 on rails at Charlotte and not get the job done? It's
too many times.
Ironic. It's pretty. I think of
here's one of them that did get the job done.
Yeah, that one did. Yeah,
that one definitely got the job done.
I think of the Winston 98.
Oh, well, and speaking of drivers that did get the job done, though, you talk about Eric Jones, John-Hunter Niemanschek, AJ Allmendinger, great runs on Sunday as well. So, want to give a shout out.
Fourth.
Yeah.
I was going to say, hell of a run. And I jokingly said to Taylor after the race, this was one of those ECR saying, okay, we promise you're getting the best engine we have this weekend. I feel like we owe you one.
He's owed a few.
Also, shout out to Brad Keselowski, his first top 5 and just even top 10 of the season. Finally.
Over.
Ryan Preece, top 10.
So. It was a lot of good finishes. Yeah. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had a good run too. He's 15th in points in the playoff standings. So
look at that.
New ownership, Hayek Motorsports, they're still getting it done. And Ricky, I mean, say what you want about him. They're staying consistent and just keeping themselves alive by staying quiet. And that's all you can do.
Yep. And that's my thing, too. Like, I'll say that about Ross as well. Obviously, you think about Hayek Motorsports versus Trackhouse equipment, and you would say, well, Trackhouse clearly has the better equipment this year. Questionable sometimes during some race weekends, but there's something to be said about a driver keeping their head down, just being quiet and just working, right? And I think Ricky is a perfect example of that. He'll get a lot of crap thrown his way and like whatever, but he's relentless and just saying, I'm just going to like race my heart out and see what happens this weekend. And so I commend, Ricky for that, and that team, obviously sitting 15th in points. That's impressive. And nobody's talking about it. And I know we're still at the point in the season where people aren't talking about points, but before you know it, Daytona is going to be here in August, and we're going to be one race before the playoff field is set. So as we go along, we'll definitely pay more attention to the points. Something else to keep in mind as well, following the Nashville race weekend, the field will be set for that 32 car elimination bracket challenge. It'll be 5 races for part of the streaming deal. So kind of keep an eye out for that too. But let's go to our last piece of news before we close it out here. Just so you all kind of are aware about this, because remember at Kansas, Chris Buescher received an L1 penalty. Well, the appeals panel heard that case today, and here's what was found. They found that the team only violated 2 of the 3 rules that they were accused of, essentially. So after the appeal, the 2-race suspension for Graves, the 5 playoff points loss, and the $75,000 fine are still in place. It was upheld. However, they moved the 60-point penalty for owner's points to a 30-point penalty only. They said that the panel concluded that NASCAR met its burden of proof regarding the reinforcement of the front bumper cover, but did not meet the sorry. I typed that wrong, my bad. But did not meet it regarding the trimming of the exhaust panel cover. So that's how they kind of shifted how they kind of dished out the penalty there. But just so you all are aware of how the points shake out, at least for Buescher on the ownership side of things. So wanted to keep you up to date on that. But everyone, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you all tuning in, showing up, talking NASCAR with us. Obviously, it's a triple header weekend for NASCAR, so a lot going on at Truck, Xfinity, and Cup this weekend at Nashville. Wanted to kind of key you into for Nashville Fairgrounds. There is the Battle at Broadway, which will be super exciting for the CRA JEGS series. So make sure to check that out on Racing America this weekend. Shameless plug there. And also other content. If you missed out our other content, I don't know what you're doing, you guys. You guys got to go to ATYL Media on YouTube and Facebook, but mostly YouTube, and check out all of our new content from Formula One to our new show, Nitro Nation, on tour. Of course, I did a whole video and a follow-up video to the autograph session debacle, but make sure to check that out there. And then, of course, go to AboveTheOline.com. But thank you all so much. And thank you to our partners too, On Brand, Basic Designs, Go Locker Racing, The Bright Mentality, and of course, Happy Hour Racing. Couldn't do what we do without you all. And of course, you guys in the chat and you guys watching. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We will see you guys next week when all of our content will go back to as scheduled for sure. But thank you all so much for myself, Adam Lucas, and Dom Joseph. We will